Welcome to the Zebra Family channel. If you have not subscribed, please click the like button, share and subscribe. It's free. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are around the world. This is Zebra Family channel. Today we're going to talk about Gauteng Executive Council, the Provincial Executive Council. Before we start talking about the Gauteng ANC Executive Council, I want to start about the power of the brain. Whenever people come to negotiate, they first read your mind and they understand your mindset. There's a demonstration that I want to show to everybody how apartheid destroy South Africans. They first destroy the mind to believe everything that is done by a white person, it's proper. And what is done by a black person, you have to doubt it. And the portrayal of a black person and the portrayal of a white person. I want you to look at this with understanding. The doctor shows how you can destroy somebody's brain. Simple demonstration. This is what DA is doing. It did to the national GNU. They destroyed the president and the committee. Helen Zille, they were so powerful to destroy their brains. That's why they were throwing letters left, right, and center, saying that and leaking letters of the discussion that was going on. Because it's part of destroying somebody's brain when you don't agree on something. Little did they know, the DA, that they are youngsters in the Gauteng Provincial Executive Council who were not destroyed their brains. Their brains are still functioning and they are not scared of a white person and they can confront a white person. There come the DA with the attitude of trying to negotiate like big brothers. And they find these guys there. And these guys were ready just to kick the DA out of the negotiations. And whatever they're offering the DA, they stand up ahead to show that their brain is not destroyed. I want you to watch this video and understand it. Then you will get to what was happening, the press conference that the Gauteng Provincial Executive Council did, the PEC. And we'll see Soli from the DA saying his part. Let's watch the video.
This video shows how easily our brain can be fooled. First, a fake hand is placed on the right side and covered with a towel, hiding the real hand. The person in the video starts rubbing both the fake hand and the real hand with a scale, and the brain begins to believe the fake hand is real because it feels the touch. The doctor then repeatedly tells the participant that the fake hand is their real hand and continues rubbing both hands.
Is your right hand, right?
This repetition makes the brain believe it even more. The most interesting part is when the doctor stops rubbing the real hand and only rubs the fake hand. The participant can still feel the sensation in the fake hand. Finally, the doctor takes a hammer and hits the fake hand.
Stumbling block, what seems to be the issue from your end?
Well, Tony, thank you very much, and good evening to the newsroom viewers. And thank you for the opportunity. I think to start off, we have been engaged in good faith from day one. We understood the principle of saying the bigger party will get the leadership, i.e. will get the role of the premier. We did that. We nominated, we elected the premier without any hassles. We nominated and elected the speaker without any hassles. We were supposed to then be engaging with them from the same Friday afternoon after electing the premier. They disappeared on us. Saturday, they were not available. Sunday, they were not available. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, only when we met at the inauguration of the president did they tell us that they will engage us. We engaged them on the days that followed. They asked us for proposals. We gave them proposals and our understanding of how power sharing should be. We said to them that there should be a split in terms of the numbers that we're bringing in. They then said, let's put that in writing. We did. My provincial chairperson put that in writing. Then they said they're uncomfortable with inclusion of other parties because they're engaging with us. And then we said, okay, fine, we'll remove that. But then we then said to them, but if you're talking about a government of provincial unity, surely in that cabinet you should be able to then have other parties being represented, and surely that should also be reflective of the outcomes of the elections. Let me tell you what is now being on the table. The DA is being offered 2 positions, MEC positions. The DA is being offered 2 chairpersons positions, and we're asking, is this a true reflection of what the voters have said to us? A party that has 34%, wants to then hop on to 8 positions and only give 2 to the DA and 1 to another party. Yeah. We said that we can engage and negotiate around this. Today, as I'm talking to you, we had our earlier meeting. The last word that we got from the ANC was that they are going to then consult with their PEC. They will come back to us, by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. By 5:30, then we see a media statement to then say they are ready to make an announcement. And I did talk to Panyaza Lesofie. I did call the provincial secretary. I said, but are you guys really engaging in good faith? You said you'll come back to us at 4 o'clock to look at the proposal and agree on a proposal. And then if we agree on the proposal, we were more than happy to then give you the name so that you're able to then, we have an inclusion in terms of that. Yeah. That's not what they want.
All right, Solly, I need to move quickly because of time. Is it your understanding that if the ANC and the DA don't find each other at provincial level, could that have a bearing on what happens nationally? Because that seemed to be the spirit or the tone of the messaging from the Democratic Alliance, that this deal that is being struck at national has a bearing on what happens in provincial structures. Is it your understanding?
Well, I don't think that we are there. But what we have said is that there are principles that have been applied at the national level. We've asked for the same principles to be applied here at the provincial level. And I don't know if you were following what TK and Lawhan were saying, because they seem to be contradicting each other every 2 minutes. At one point, they're talking about following the principles. And the next moment, they're talking about going against the same principles that they're saying they're following. And now you ask yourself, why did they get an instruction to pull this off? Because at a national level, there has been an agreement and there's been principles that have been followed. The same principles, by the way, that were proposed by the ANC in KZN is the same principles that we are saying must apply here in Gauteng. So why in KZN they can propose certain things, at a national level they can propose and agree to certain things, but when it comes to Gauteng they are now denying to go that route? I'll tell you what the issue is. The issue is that they want to hold on to all 8 positions so that they can satisfy their own factional battles. So they are holding Gauteng and its residents to ransom instead of saying, let's find a genuinely government of provincial unity where all parties can be represented and can be represented equally, all to the proportionality that they're bringing in. And this is what we are asking for. Tomorrow we'll still engage them, and we'll engage them in good faith, and hopefully we get the answers that we are seeking for.
And once we deadlocked, we then finalized with other parties. So from where we are sitting, we don't have an agreement with the DA, so they are not boycotting anything. They're just trying to create attention for themselves. Deputy Secretary, do you want to add something?
No, safe to say, thank you very much. Safe to say that where we are, we have really tried our utmost best to be accommodative, to be understanding, and really to be able to have a deeper understanding of what each and every party deems important for themselves in participating in the government of provincial unity. We respect their views and we respect what they feel and how they feel they will best want to contribute in the government of provincial unity. I think it's sad and very unfair that one out of all the parties represented in the legislature wants to stall this process to the extent that it has. The African National Congress, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of the Premier, wants to make sure that the province is stable. We have a government and a legislature that is in place and working as soon as possible. And I can also say that the Premier is really disappointed that for the second time now he's not able to establish government so that we can proceed with the business of running government in the province. We constantly communicate with all parties, and it's causing anxiety even to other parties represented in the legislature. I think it's unfair, very unfortunate, but definitely by tomorrow there will be a government in Gauteng, and as soon as possible thereafter, the committees of the legislature will also be established. Thanks.
Thank you. We will take questions from members of the media. I would ask that you identify your name and your media house and ask your question. I've not conducted a press conference in a very long time. In fact, I've never conducted. I've always been. So I will start here with Linda, and then I'll go at the back, number 2, and then you are number 3, you are number 4, or you are number 5. So I'm giving you your numbers. You are number 5. Let's start.
Okay, then let me see from.
I want to start with this question that talks to the ANC not accepting that we didn't get 50 plus percentage. Unless you are not necessarily, or you are not following what we've been saying here, the concept of government of provincial unit is an ANC concept, because we recognize the fact that we did not win the elections. But the reality is that we are at least above all the other parties. So we're inviting everybody to come. And that's what we've been saying here. We've invited Democratic Alliance, we've invited PA, we've invited Action SA, we've invited Qatar Freedom, we've invited everybody who's in the legislature, and we've spoken to them. So there's no ANC that can formulate government alone. Doesn't exist, at least not in the province. And we agree and we accept that. But what we don't accept is us having a concept of saying there's a coalition of ANC and DA in Gauteng. There's nothing like that. It's a coalition that is bringing everybody, rather. It's a government of provincial unit that must bring everybody. And that's where we are in this province. We're not going to negotiate in the media. We're not going to sit here and give details of negotiations. I know other parties attempted to do that from time to time. Had we concluded, if the leadership would have allowed us to do what we came here to do, or rather gave us a green light, and really not say, comrades, let's renegotiate and see if we can find each other with the Democratic Alliance. Of course, from their request as well. We're going to announce cabinet with other political parties, including in the legislature. So we're very much clear in that. The ANC is very worried about a number of things, not only Nas's part. We have a very proactive premier who wants to go and deliver for the people, but he can't do it alone. He must do it with an executive that is willing to go to the people. From where we are, we believe that tomorrow we will be able to make that announcement. We got an assurance from our leadership that from tomorrow this really must proceed, because it is really delaying the people of Gauteng. It can't be fair, it's not right. The people of Gauteng have been waiting for their government. So as the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC, we really support our premier, but we also, from time to time, because we are a structure that is serving the NEC, and we must always listen to its guidance. So if there must be an engagement tomorrow, there will be an engagement. The reality is that, even if you go to other countries, coalitions are never easy. Unfortunately, this is the economic hub of this country. It will be contested. Parties will do their level best to be part of it, and so forth and so on. And there will be a number of tricks that will come So we expect that. Other countries, they took a year to formulate government and so forth. I mean, the president would have explained. Gauteng is like a country. That's why it's highly contested. From where we are, we believe that we are very fair. We are accepting what needs to happen, but we are not going to allow anybody to bully us, because the reality is that DA voted with EFF in Northern Cape in the middle of these GMU negotiations. It's a fact. When we have a view that is contrary to DA can act as if they are a victim. They act as if they are a victim, as if they are being left outside. When they were not, when they are not in the Northern Cape, they are not there. But in Gauteng, they must act as if they are victims when we say, no, but let's bring other parties. Also allow yourself, let's move like this. Let's work together. If we don't agree, but we hope that there will be a solution tomorrow, we will be able to move forward. But from where we are really, our premier is ready to announce, and the ANC, and these other parties who are ready to hit the ground running. Wonder if I've left.
No. Please, would you want what's Alpha? I did not say the premier was going to announce the ANC. Please don't say that, ne? Please don't say it, because
being creative.
I know you guys, you can say it. What I'm saying, the premier was not going to announce the DA in his cabinet. The premier was going to announce a provincial of government unity led by the ANC, constituted by the ANC and other parties represented in the legislature, because the ANC in Gauteng has sealed and concluded a deal with other parties in the legislature. I think that should be clear. However, the DA decided through their provincial leader Msimang to go in public and make allegations that ANC is unreasonable and that they were not going to come, they were going to boycott. They were not boycotting anything, they were not invited. They were not going to be here anyway. So that's what we wanted to make clear, that in Gauteng, the ANC does not want a coalition with the DA. It will not have a coalition with the DA. But in Gauteng, the ANC will work with all the parties, including the DA. That should be made clear, because the DA is behaving as if we have a coalition. It's us and them. The ANC National Executive Committee adopted a framework. We are guided by that framework, nothing else. So, and our position is clear, as the provincial secretary is saying, we are forming a provincial government of unity. As the ANC, we are forming the government, we are leading the government. We are inviting other parties. We've made this clear to the DA, that we are inviting them, but they are behaving as if it's us and them. And then if we don't agree, then things fall apart. No, that's why the premier, the list is got in his pocket now. It doesn't have the DA. It has other parties. Let's take others. We'll take the municipalities.
Yeah.
And this, sorry, the issue of municipalities, I'm then confirming that the relationship with the EFF and I think MK was voted with you. Is that you are not going to be attracting from municipalities. I'm confirming that is the EFF there.
Okay, thanks. You can pass the mic there. Steve, Kuba will say,
We have not spoken about municipalities here, so I don't know what you're talking about. Unplugging of this and that. We're not there.
Yeah.
We're not there.
Just take that question.
Heidi Jokos from NCA. What assurance can you give that tomorrow you'll be able to announce? This is the second time you've cancelled your announcement. You keep speaking about the fact that this is not between the ANC and the DA. Does this mean that you, and I know TK is saying you don't want to negotiate in public, but the Premier did tell ENCA that a number of parties have formed part of this government of provincial unity. Does that mean that you are going to be working with the EFF and MK if you're planning to exclude the DA? Also, the DA has told ENCA that you only offer them 2 positions. Could you confirm if that's true? Thanks.
Take that and then, isn't it? Yeah. Sure.
So I'm just wondering, I think the same question that I've asked, that the list that is currently in the pocket of the Premier right now, does it include the EFF at this stage? And are we saying, or is the ANC saying that they have now created a government here in this province with the EFF and the MK?
Okay. First of all, when the ANC adopted its framework, it said go and engage all the parties. That's what it said. And parties pronounced themselves for or against the government of national unity. That's what they said. We've engaged everybody, but the economic freedom fighters and the MK were not going to be part of the executive. But we're engaging them because we are politicians. We understand this is a moving target. We've been involved in coalitions for the past, 10 years or so. So we understand what happens in coalitions. Every other party that we've engaged, they will be part of the government of provincial unity. So I think I would have covered both questions because you wanted to know EFF and so on. So we're not there, but we're engaging them because people say they agree with you and they change tomorrow. The issue of numbers, I will continue to say anybody who negotiates in the media is negotiating in bad faith. And I don't do that. I don't believe in doing that. But the reality is that the first negotiations were way above, in fact, we were above that. They turned around, they did all sorts of things. We just don't believe that we can be bullied by Democratic Alliance in Gauteng. And that's what brought us where we are. Because we would have closed this thing 2 weeks ago. But because they believe they negotiate, I don't believe at this point, including going into the media and talking about negotiations to that detail, is negotiating in good faith. So from where we are, we will not even venture into what would have Gauteng offered, or rather what would the ANC offered Democratic Alliance. But what we are saying is that if they are coming back, they must accept that other parties will be part. And they must accept that the ANC will lead this provincial government of unity.
No, in fact, it must not seem as if we are afraid to answer this question.
What question is it?
No, you negotiate in public. Because what the provincial secretary said, DA, one of the things they are trying to do, they firstly want to impose which political party you must work with. They want to negotiate for other political parties. They come with issues, proportional representation. We said we don't have a problem as a matter of principle, but it's proportional representation of what? So those are some of the things. Not like we're scared to deal with the details. And it's not true that we offer them too. It's not true. So please don't raise it again, because we don't want to enter into negotiations with the DA in public. But we are clear, and we said to them, let's frame this thing properly. This is not a coalition with the ANC. This is a provincial government of unity. We are inviting you. And hence, in the last meeting, they said, no, we are declining the invitation because we're not agreeing. We said, fine. But the DA did not believe that the announcement will go ahead today. Because for some reason, they believe they are in charge, they are responsible for us, and they are leading us in the legislature. We are not led by the DA. The only reason why we are here now explaining is because the national leadership of the ANC has asked that no, maybe wait so that we intervene. ANC is a unitary structure. That's what I was saying. The Premier is ready. He was going to announce, but ANC is a unitary structure guided by principle of democratic centralism. When the leadership of the ANC says, wait, we can't say no, we are proceeding because we are ready. We have concluded with other parties. In fact, maybe that's what we must say. We have concluded with other parties. It's only the DA that is behaving like a spoiled brat. And now we must be entertaining that. Let me take other questions. No, the last round. I'll take. Yeah, I'll start with you. 1, 2, 3. No. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, move it. 1, 2, 3. Because you're coming for the second time, I'll say 4. Then it'll be number 5. Then we are done.
All right. Thank you so much, Molo Kumurajo from ANC. I think the DA has clarified that they are not saying they are boycotting this. They are saying that they are not going to attend it because they have not reached an agreement with you. But boycott not coming, it's neither here nor there. Okay. However, it's clear that you are pointing the finger of blame at the DA squarely. My question therefore is whether, since the beginning of these negotiations, at some point you have had to make concessions to say, we were here, we gave in to what they were demanding, and how far are you prepared to go in terms of perhaps giving in to their demands, but also seeing that what is happening here in Gauteng potentially could affect the government of national unity, in that if indeed this is the official position of the DA in general, not only in Gauteng but even at the national level, they may just say if they are not part of Gauteng, they pull out of the government of national unity. I'm not saying that's what they're saying, just trying to draw a scenario to say, does that not concern you as the leaders of the ANC in Gauteng, or you simply don't care?
Okay, just wait, let the Provincial Secretary answer this one. I think first of all, that's why we are here. It's because we care. If we didn't care, we would have announced and moved to pronounce the government of provincial unity. So we're here because we care and we listen to our leadership, but it can't be a scared tactic because the understanding was that provinces are negotiating on their own, and that's why many provinces would have immediately released their list or whatever they would have agreed on. Of course, Gauteng has been used in our own analysis by Democratic Alliance as a buffer for their own negotiations. You would know we're supposed to have announced. In terms of concessions, I think, like Comrade Lebza has said, and I don't want to repeat what would have said, we are bringing everyone. Concessions can't only about DA. It makes sense when we only give DA. But when we are saying, wait, let's give others, let's agree, we're coming together, it's not correct. We don't agree to that. We're saying, let's agree that we're bringing everyone, including these small parties that in your mind they are small parties. Because we've learned from municipalities that once you belong, you depend on one party, a lot of things can happen. So that's why we're going with the spirit of our leadership in bringing all the parties, including DA. So this thing of proportion that they're trying to raise as a principle, we don't agree with it. Because it means bigger parties must take everything and smaller parties must see to finish. That's where we disagree fundamentally with them. Or if they take, it must be about what they take from the ANC. So I just think we really disagree with them in that context. But outside of that, we are not an arrogant Gauteng ANC. And please, let's not portray it as such. We are very respectful. We don't speak to media unnecessarily. We don't insult anyone. We speak when we have to clarify issues that have to do with the people of Gauteng and the African National Congress.
That's why we're here, we're speaking for the first time on the issue of coalition, ever since we started engaging on them, because we have never done that. But because we saw that there's a narrative, and people who are, leakists, people who leak letters, they leak engagements, you don't negotiate in good faith when you do that. Even tomorrow, we'll take our jackets, we'll follow leadership, and go and engage. But we have our principles that we believe are respected at all levels. And it follows the framework. They said the party, even the framework of the ANC, you would know it. It's very clear. So we're following that.
Yeah, you.
It's not true that we didn't take just. Now I want you to set the record straight because this is a detail asking. How many seats are you going to give it? Are you demanding? Thank you.
So not what we're giving to the DA, it's what we give to all the political parties. And that's why we were responding to a specific question that the DA is raising. And we are saying it's not true. And at the same time, we are saying this is not a coalition with the DA. That's why we must not reduce it to what the DA gets. But how are we accommodating all the parties? The ANC, in these negotiations, believe it or not, is the one that has been saying, let's bring everybody. In fact, even the smallest party represented in the legislature. And DA does not care. Basically, DA's attitude is that, no, we are big parties. If we have a deal, we are sorted. We are saying, no, we don't want that. That's what DA wants from us.
In fact, it cares about the party that they want us to appoint.
Exactly.
So how do you work like that?
Exactly. So they want us to appoint a certain party and all. So we have been principled. And that's why we've not even come out in public and all that. Because we are saying, no, we want to work even with the one-seat person party. DA saying, no, man, leave these people. They're the big guys. So we are not going to do that. Sure. Number two.
Good evening, breaking it from Midnight reality is you need to work with these parties, whether it be the DA, whether it be the EFF. As part of these negotiations, is there working agreement to provide stability in government? Is there something like that you guys are working on as well? Thank you.
The agreement will be developed.
Yeah.
Because the agreement must deal with the principles, the values, it must deal with the minimum program, must deal with how are you going to resolve problems if you have and all that. So at this point, we're engaging with parties individually. In fact, what the DA is not telling you is that there was a draft agreement between us and them. And the reason it was not signed because it was just the framing. They wanted us to sign an agreement with them on behalf of other parties. We said no, we can have an agreement with you. They in fact went to the provincial secretary and said, sign, quick, at the day of the legislature. And they came to me and said, hey, the provincial secretary does not want to sign. I asked the provincial secretary. The provincial secretary said, no, I'm reading. These people are saying this is an agreement between the DA and other parties. And we have even agreed on the number of what the DA will get in the executive, what the DA will get including the deputy speaker in the legislature. Then we're now supposed to go to other parties and say, what are you getting, party X, Z? Other parties have even said, no, we don't want to be part of the executive because we're having a holistic discussion. Other parties have even said, we want to actually watch over you. There are parties that have said, but we can't divulge here. That said, we want to watch over you, we don't want to join you in the executive. So, that's what transpired.
Okay, that leads to the last question. Okay. You're saying that you were ready to, make the announcement today, but National Office asked you obviously not to. Do you feel that the City House is imposing the DA on you as a provincial structure? Number two, which parties is the DA pro and against? If you're able to give us that. And yeah, that's all.
I'm sure DA will answer for itself on which party they are pro or against. It's not really my place. I don't speak for them. However, answering your first question, what did you say?
It's literally housing.
No. In fact, we don't believe so. Remember, there's wisdom, but also there's leadership. They are there, they are negotiating at that level. They give us powers to do our work at the provincial level. We are reporting on a daily basis to them. This is where we are, this is what we are doing. In fact, I speak to the Secretary General of the ANC so that he gives us guidance on how we move. So we don't really believe they are imposing any party. We believe they are with us on this matter. We believe they are supporting us. We believe that, in fact, they are guiding us. They understand where we come from. That's why they would not even be tempted to take the negotiations over, but they will be with us in trying to navigate and make sure that we are over this hurdle that we are faced with. But no, we really don't believe that the NEC or rather the national executive officials are imposing TA on us. We believe they are with us.
So I'll take two last questions. I'll take your, and then Heidi will be the last.
No, but I didn't answer the question. I said, does the deal nationally not fall provincially? Are you negotiating your own thing and low make something, or the deal that was done between all the parties in the GNU falls also to the national structures, or here you are negotiating yourself?
The statement of intent does not speak about the province or any other province, as a matter of fact. In the middle of negotiations, and I raised this with you earlier on, DA voted with EFF in the Northern Cape. What were they thinking? Because they are outside, they will vote with the EFF, because wherever they go, they say, we don't want the EFF. We'll never be in a government with EFF. But they voted with the EFF against the African National Congress in Northern Cape. So there's not necessarily principle. These people who are looking for power. We understand we must share power. It's fine. So the reality is that we're not there. That's not our worry. Our leadership said we must go and negotiate our own provincial. Let's have our own provincial agreement and do something that will work for us and invite everybody, and that's what we have done. So whoever exclude themselves, whether it's the EFF or the DA, they are doing it on their own. We reached a deadlock with the DA. We're engaging, we're agreeing up until we wanted to change goalposts, and we reached a deadlock. That's what happened.
Heidi?
It's Heidi Jocks again from the NCA. I know you don't want to negotiate in the media, but I need to understand your proportionality of how you're going to split these positions, because is the ANC or the DA going to have to give up positions within the executive to compensate or to accommodate the other parties that have formed part of this government of provincial unity? And also, just this last question. You reached a deadlock with the DA. Let's say the scenario is that you don't come to any agreement with the DA and you can't work with the DA. Your only other option is MK or EFF. Are you willing to work with them?
Thank you.
No, just before, let's answer Heidi, and then, because she was the last, but I'll give you, let's answer, nobody.
I think, let me just ask, because it ends with, it will help what everybody is asking. You're not answering us, because what we know as media, we have read the DA love letter to National to say KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng is on condition that we agree National, we agree in Gauteng, and we agree in KZN. So that's why the question is, if Gauteng don't include the DA, does the deal fall off National? Because the DA love letter clearly states, I can give you the clause, what the paragraph. It says, its own condition, national, Gauteng, and KZN is one package. Thank you.
Yeah, so we are not the DA. The DA wrote a letter. Our leadership responded to their letter. They responded to that letter. And you can check with them. But from where we are sitting, we want to work with everybody because the National Executive Committee of the ANC has instructed us to do that. And we will do it within the confines of the principles as a framework of the ANC, because the ANC has a framework on that's what guides us. It's not any other thing. So we don't have a problem. Heidi, your question was?
Hi.
But you've been...
If you don't come to an agreement with the DA, you can't find each other.
Yeah, sure.
Now, and the proportionality, taking seats away from DA, ANC.
First of all, I think we are very clear that not all... The ANC is not going to get 10 MECs. We are very clear, and we've been saying that. I don't know... It means we understand that we did not win majority votes in Gauteng. We must actually invite other people so that we form government. So we have agreed to that, including the DA understanding that this proportionally thing that they're talking about is not necessarily speaking about the 100% of representation of the parties inside the legislature. They're talking about us and them. So it can't be about us and them. It must be about the parties that are in the legislature. That is our point of contention. We don't agree there. And I can't negotiate again in the media like other parties. That's not how I was taught. I was taught discipline in the ANC. I was taught you must always rise above because you are a leader of society.
Yeah, no, that was, I think, the last. We want to thank the media. I hope it has clarified, you are clarified about the ANC position. The ANC is not arrogant. The ANC is prepared to work with everybody, and we will keep you posted. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Yeah.
Drop your opinion respectfully, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I love you all. Ginthanda ngothando lukalabo. Ngithi kuni. Bravo, bravo.